Hey guys, it's Byron from Behind the Scene, and today I'm on the phone with Liam from Windwaker. How you going today, dude?
I'm not too bad, my friend. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all. It's pretty overcast here, so I'm just soaking up the very low levels of UV.
Well, while I'm experiencing a big hole in the ozone down here in Melbourne.
Is that got anything to do with the new Windwaker release?
I'm sure it's had some sort of effect on our mental state and our creativity.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's all you can really ask for. The ozone layer, if it's going to have a hole, you need some type of effect. But would you call it a good effect or a bad effect?
I'm pretty proud of this EP, so I'm hoping everyone thinks it's as good as we think it is. So hopefully a positive effect.
I mean, yeah. I've listened to it about 2.5 times so far, and I've jammed it pretty well. There's a few tracks that stand out on it. I got a nostalgic feeling with the title track, obviously Empire, but I got some vibes from Castaway back from your Fade EP, and I know that you don't necessarily like talking about the old stuff, but do you think that there is kind of a growth from that to this EP, or do you think that there's a lot of changes that you wouldn't really call Windwaker the same band?
Sure. I think it's a combination of both. I think we wanted to make an EP that was, a growth from our last release. But I also think we wanted to be conscious about staying somewhat familiar to why people liked us in the first place. This effort was a more collaborative process this time around, whereas the Fade EP was definitely more written by Chris Lalick, who's our drummer. This time around was way more collaborative. It included the 5 of us in the songwriting process and recording process, which is really good. I think it kind of encompasses who we all individually are as a band,
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So how does a Windwaker song typically come to life? Like, is there a set way of, Chris will come up with a cool drum loop and then Will be like, I've got these sick lyrics, we'll layer that? Or is there any formula that works better than any other thing you've tried? Or is it just all, look, this works together, let's just keep working on it until it's perfect?
I think that's what this whole EP was about, experimenting with. Like I said, last release, it was typically Chris would write the whole song and would send it around to the band, and it'd be a collaborative effort, even with the melodies and lyrics between like Will and Chris. Whereas this time around, like some of the songs, that basically you'd have like a skeleton of a song. The process would be the same, but the people would be different, I guess. So the skeleton of the song might be written by myself or by Chris, and then it would be taken to the rest of the members, and then they would sort of incorporate their little personality into the song, and then the lyrics would sort of come last. So the music would sort of be the first thing to start the process, and then the lyrics and melodies would kind of end the process, I guess.
No, that sounds like a really exciting way of building something. Like you've got your structure that obviously, whoever has written the song knows how it should be. But then, letting everyone else have their little, touches and finesses. That's really exciting.
We definitely wanted to kind of keep things different this time around, yeah.
Talking about keeping things different, you've got Declan White helping do the drum engineer on the EP. How is it working with someone who has a strong roots in the new metal and alternative scene? Like, he worked on Ocean Grove's Outsider. Was it like a dream to work with these kinds of people, or did you just know that these are the people that you have to work with to get what you want to get across?
Declan came across because we'd worked with him on the drums for New Internet.
Okay.
And we knew that he was very capable of producing a drum sound that we were going to be super happy with. I think in terms of the way that I know Chris and I look at production and engineering, the drums and bass are sort of super important to the overall finished product. And so Declan's really good at engineering drums in particular, and I know that's something that we really wanted to kind of capture with him when working with him on this release. So I guess in a way it was out of necessity, but also just because we Chris and Declan work really well together in terms of personalities as well. So yeah,
no,
it was just kind of
exciting.
a relationship.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's super cool. So you released The Sitch. How did that concept come to mind? I know it was primarily Chris and Will's idea from what I've read, but how did it transfer from, I guess, an idea to being a video clip that's, you know, a lot different to the majority of clips coming out of Melbourne?
Sure. So The Sitch kind of came about from this concept or treatment that Will had written, and it was very influenced by a lot of movies that we identify with in terms of comedy, like movies like Superbad and Zoolander. We definitely wanted to, I guess, so far we definitely have kind of given off this vibe that we're like this really super serious band that takes everything super seriously, when in actual reality we're kind of just all five jokers, that like to have fun. And so I think we wanted to finally have an opportunity to kind of show that. So it came about by Will writing this treatment, and we'd all kind of fallen in love with it. We kind of threw around some ideas. We worked with Ben Anderson and Kale Rodriguez on the video. They had some ideas, and in 2 days we just shot this video that destroyed us just by the sheer amount of work hours that we had to put into it. But
no, that's cool. And why that specific model of car? Was it just because it was comedic, or was it like someone's granddad's? Or
we found that car from like some Facebook group from this girl that was lending her out, and she was an absolute sweetheart to work with. We wanted to get a car that was kind of retro in its look, but also we wanted to get something that we could sort of, like I said before, like Zoolander was kind of a bit of a reference or inspiration for getting a car that we could sort of have passengers sit outside of the car in a way, like sit sort of on the sides of it and create that vision that we wanted to always create in the video.
No, that's wicked. I mean, they come across really well, as you're probably, pretty aware of looking at the streams. But I've seen so many people still, 3 weeks later, talking about it and sharing it, which is crazy.
Yeah. We wanted to make a video that people didn't want to, skip through. I think it's really easy for people to make band videos, and it's really easy to kind of just go through the video and it's the same setting and same shots, whereas creating a narrative that we had with the Sitch, it's sort of almost impossible to skip through the video without missing something completely.
It definitely has that little story-based narrative, kind of like the Violent Soho video clip with Like Soda, when all the band members are old people, and it's just that whole different perspective of the band, that especially when you said majority of your fans more or less think that the band takes themselves 100% seriously. Having that chance where you can take piss, take a joke, it must be really exciting to have these different, I guess, personalities within yourselves, these different sides. So is that something that you think comes across more in the new record as well? Just being more or less not as serious as the first EP, but more professional?
Yeah, I think it's forward in both ways. I think it's probably our most professional sounding release, but at the same time, I think we definitely tried to have a bit of fun and experiment with different sounds. I mean, The Sitch is a perfect example of that. It's a much more lighthearted track on the record, but then you have things like My Empire are quite darker by comparison, So, I think in a sense it definitely shows off all of our personalities, both as members of the band, but also just as a unit itself. I think we definitely have a lot of different personalities to showcase and explore.
So you boys have got some shows coming up soon with The Brave. You got a what is it, a 3-day tour?
Yes, up Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane.
Mm-hmm. How does that feel being, a Melbourne band playing with a Brisbane band and actually being able to hold your own musically? Because, the Brave are fucking insane. And you guys, it is a sick lineup, you guys and the Brave. How do you find that as I guess, a fan of music as well as being on the stage playing with these guys?
I'm really happy and proud of the band getting to the point where we can kind of do that. It's pretty crazy because it's been a long time coming, this tour. We'd been talking about it for a long time, but it just kind of hadn't lined up for us until now, and it's kind of fallen into place at the right time as well, because it originally wasn't going to line up when we were about to put out the EP, but it certainly has now, which is amazing. So I'm super happy with that, and I'm super happy that we can travel as a band to different states and people know who we are and are able to, get around the music.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then shortly after that, you've got your Weekender. Now, you boys are pretty notorious for Weekenders. How did this one kind of come to fruition?
Well, as people may or may not know, Windwaker are originally from Wagga, at least the founding members of the band are, and Jesse Crofts, who's the other guitarist, he's from Albury, so those two regional towns are often kind of almost reunion shows in a way. So we always like to hit those places up every once in a while, and because they're hometown shows for most of the members, they usually go off, which is always a really good morale booster, and it's always a good way to road test some new things that we try to incorporate into our live show, which is what we're planning on doing for this weekend. Or anyway, we're going to try and road test a couple things. No,
that's sick. Yeah, definitely go back to the old stomping ground and show them who's boss. Well, thanks again for, taking the time out of your very busy morning.
No worries. Thank you for calling, Byron.
No worries, dude. And I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. See you.
Bye.